To replace this fuel pump, I'm going to start underneath the rear passenger seat. This has to get lifted up, and then we have quick access to the fuel pump down there. You'll notice two plastic caps here, one here, one here. Let's remove both of those. Just pry up on the bottom, or out, I guess, and it pops out. Same with the other one, and with a 14 millimeter, let's remove both of those bolts. Perfect. Now you can take the seat, lift it straight up, and right here is going to be your fuel pump access location. So let's remove these 4 clips. With a small pair of pliers, I'm going to grab these clips and just turn them. There we go. Technically you could use a Phillips head screwdriver, but honestly these are so full of sand that it's going to be tough and it might strip out, so pliers have a much better grip. There we go. Okay, once those are turned, let's pry this cover up. Right underneath, you'll see the connector for your fuel pump. I'm going to try and push these wires through. That way I can move this to the side. There's the connector right there. With a screwdriver, I'm going to press down on this tab and push back on the connector. Hopefully that'll pop it free. A lot of times these get gummed up with sand, as you can see. So just work at it. If you need to, you can spray it with some rust penetrant. Sometimes that helps it move a little better. All right, now that that's unhooked, move this to the side. Let's disconnect the 2 fuel lines, and keep in mind that there might be some fuel pressure left. This car has not been running in over 2 weeks, so it's just been sitting here, and I'm sure that it lost most of its fuel pressure. If yours has run recently, you just want to be careful. Just keep in mind that there might still be some pressure left. Squeeze on these 2 side tabs here. I'm going to use my pliers and squeeze these 2 green tabs here and pull the line out. There we go. All right, a little bit of fuel came out, just like I said, so be careful. And for this one, so this was the feed, the pressure line. This is the return. Press down on this tab, push back, that comes out. Push these to the side. So I'm just going to take a rag and push all this debris to the side. I guess the smarter thing would have been to vacuum it prior. You don't want to run a vacuum now because that's just going to increase the potential for an explosion. Fuel, fumes, and electric motors don't really agree. So I'm just going to push this debris to the side and then use a blowgun to blow the rest of it out. Now what I'm going to do is put a punch right on the edge of this, and with a hammer. This is really not the best thing to do with a steel punch, a steel hammer, because it can make sparks, but this is all I have. I'm just going to try and spin this ring. That should unlock the fuel pump. It's starting to spin. A lot of debris is still around here, so I'm going to try not to disturb that debris. I'm going to try not to make it fall in. By now you can push these 2 to the side, remove your locking ring. I'm going to clean up this debris once the fuel pump is out. Now you can pull the fuel pump assembly right out. Just be careful because it can get caught on the little float. Tilt it to the side. Try not to spill any gas. There we go. It's a split tank because this is all-wheel drive, so there's a hose that goes to the other side of the tank. So disconnect that, make sure it doesn't fall in the tank, otherwise you'll have to go fishing for it. And unplug this connector. Oh, there we go. And here's your old fuel pump assembly. Let's get the new one. With your new fuel pump assembly, you may have to reattach the floater. So if you do need to, just stick it in the hole and press it in. It's pretty easy. And I'm going to stick this through first. Then I'm going to connect these 2 to the fuel pump. This is the electrical connector, that goes to the other side of the tank, as well as the fuel feed line for the other side of the tank. Snap those two together, make sure that's properly connected. All right, now before it goes in, don't forget that this fuel pump does have a specific orientation. The connector was facing that way towards the back seat. So push the electrical connector and the fuel feed line for the other side of the tank down and through. Line everything up. I have my gasket already on here. And oops, my wire's getting hung up. Oh, that's not the wire, that's the fuel feed line. That's getting hung up on here, so make sure you press that down. There we go. Okay, I'm just gonna test fit it right here. Looks like it is seating properly. Now get the locking ring, slide it on, and line it up with all of the tabs. This large tab needs to fit in between these two. Okay, hold that down. Let's put the locking ring on and line it up. This part won't be super easy because you need to hold it, press it, and spin it at the same time. Okay, so this ring is seated all the way. Again, be very careful. I do suggest that you use a brass punch because steel and steel can make sparks, and obviously with fuel, that mixes together and it does not end great. So next, what you want to do is take this little green locking clip that's most likely still on your old pump, slide it into the pressure line here, and that's what's going to lock in your line. So press this on. There we go. Make sure it clicks. Press on the return. Make sure that clicks. Now grab this cover with the connector. Let's connect it in. This is going to be a little hard to show you, but I think you can still see it. Make sure it clicks in all the way. There we go. That just snapped into place. Let's line up the cover and lock it on. Okay, tuck this wire out of the way, fold the carpet, let's get the seat back down. Now you can go ahead and bring the seat down and just start in the two bolts, one on the left, one on the right. I'm going to start them by hand just to make sure they don't cross thread, and then I'm just going to snug them both up with my impact gun. I'm just going to grab this longer bar now and tighten them by hand. They are your seats after all, so you want to make sure that they are nice and tight. And of course, don't forget those two little covers just to hide the brackets and the bolts. Line them up, press them on, they should snap into place, and do this to both sides. Now go ahead and prime your fuel pump. To do that, you just turn the key to the on position. I like to do that 3 or 4 times after I replace a fuel pump. That way I make sure that all the air has been pushed out of the system. So turn the key to the on position, wait a few seconds. You'll most likely hear the fuel pump run in the background very quietly anyway. 3 or 4 times is good enough. After you've done that, go ahead and actually start the vehicle. So turn the key all the way and it should start with no problems. Once it does start, check for fuel leaks. Make sure you don't smell fuel or see any sort of drippage. If you don't, you're all set. So take it for a road test.